Kia ora. WIDS Auckland 2020 is an online series of talks from women sharing their stories about their work and career contributions across many industries and in academia. WIDS Auckland is an independent event organised by the University of Auckland Faculty of Engineering to coincide with the annual Global Women in Data Science Conference. I'm Rosalind Archer, a WIDS ambassador, and I'm delighted to be sharing these inspiring talks. I'd like to thank the WIDS Auckland sponsors, gold sponsor Stats New Zealand, silver sponsors SAS, the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, Finity Consulting, Servian, Todd Digital and Red Hat. This talk is a joint presentation from Catherine Frethey-Bentham and Helen Jarrett from the University of Auckland. They are applying data science tools for social good in a project partnering with the Housing Foundation.
Hi, I'm Catherine, this is Helen, and today we're going to share a story with you about how we at the University of Auckland partnered with a number of industry bodies and partners to make a difference for a local charity or not-for-profit organisation called Housing Foundation New Zealand, and also how we built some student careers along the way. Before we get started, I'd like to give special acknowledgement for this project to Horst Felderhauser, Jeff Lowe and Grant Osborne for all their work. Helen and I are going to share our story with you. So to start, I think a little bit about me. My name's Dr. Catherine Frethey-Bentham, which is a bit of a mouthful. I started my career in marketing research over 20 years ago. And I actually started out an undergraduate. I started taking some statistics papers that were compulsory as part of a business degree. And I found out that I was pretty good at statistics and I really quite enjoyed it. So I'd been told all my life, notably by my maths teacher at high school, that girls can't do maths and I shouldn't waste my time. But despite this, I found otherwise at university. And by the time I was at the end of my undergraduate degree, I was working as a tutor within the statistics department. I was invited to do postgrad in statistics and in business, and I chose to do my postgraduate in business and marketing, but my love of statistics never left me. I ended up doing my PhD at University of Auckland, and I kept up my tutoring role throughout this in both marketing and in statistics. After I finished my PhD, and I did a PhD, a methodological PhD, so I did a marketing research PhD, and I had a supervisor in marketing and one in statistics. And then after that, I started as a lecturer at the University of Auckland. Then I went into business consultancy full-time for a few years, but I loved the academic life so much and I missed it that I'm now back full-time lecturing in the business school at the University of Auckland and running a part-time consultancy business in marketing research. So that's a little bit about my story, but what we'd like to do now is share a more up-to-date story. So I've been working in research about 20 years, so my story may be a little old hat. I think that Helen's story is much more interesting and much more current. So Helen's going to share a little bit about her story with you.
Thanks, Catherine. So my name is Helen. My story or my beginning is quite a lot different to Catherine's. I started university a few years ago doing my undergrad in a BA in philosophy and psychology. I realised that statistics was a core paper of psychology and swiftly dropped that, only to take up a commerce degree a couple of years later in which statistics was a core paper. And I ended up with a BA BCom in philosophy, economics and marketing. My journey with market research and data science began at my last stage 2 course where I met Catherine, and the first thing I said to her was, not very good at statistics and I'm not very good at numbers, and she said, we'll see, and we did, and I'll share a little bit about that later. Before university, my background was in performing arts and classical voice. So I'm a performer through heart, but my career and my real passion is really in market research. And I'm very excited to be able to share my journey with you here today. Currently, I am doing my Masters of Commerce and Marketing at the University of Auckland under the supervision of Catherine and also Dr. Joy Kemper. and I am so excited to see where market research can take me.
Great, thanks Helen. So let's talk a little bit about what we want to focus this presentation around. Specifically at the University of Auckland, as I said, we partnered with an organisation called Housing Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organisation, and their raison d'etre, if you will, at Housing Foundation is to make a difference in people's lives. So what they do is they take working Kiwis on low incomes and they put them into their own homes, so either ownership, full ownership, or long-term rentals, and they get working Kiwis in homes starting to solve the housing problem. So this seemed like a really valid cause that we wanted to get on board with. So I teach a stage 3 course called Advanced Marketing Research, which teaches a number of skills, including sort of questionnaire design through to multivariate data analysis. But the best way to bring it to life is to do a real world project. And what better way to do that than to partner with such a great non-profit organisation like Housing Foundation. Now we've been running this project for about 8 to 9 years now, and we've partnered with a number of different clients, commercial clients, not-for-profits, ranging from sort of Cancer Society to banks to Vodafone, so lots of organisations. But last year's project was particularly exciting because we were able to make a difference for Housing Foundation, and because Helen was enrolled in it, so she'll be able to talk to you about it a bit. So how did we run the project? Well, effectively at the beginning of the semester, the client came in and briefed students, and then throughout the semester, students were required to design a questionnaire and analyse some data collected from a questionnaire. Now, students had a go at designing the questionnaire, and I designed the questionnaire, and ultimately, of course, mine was the one that was used to collect the data, but students were given the opportunity to critique my work and gain extra marks through that. Now, throughout this process, part of what we learned is that I can't do everything alone much justice. So I worked with a number of different partners, and those partners were industry mentors. So mentors would come in and work with students. They were allocated a mentor at the beginning of the semester. And we also partnered with Dynata, who helped us. They're a data collection agency, and they helped us to collect the data. Of course, we partnered with the client, Housing Foundation. And then in a world first, we partnered with InfoTools, who gave us free access and training to their Harmony software to help students analyse data and to complement data analysis they were doing in other statistical packages, such as SPSS. At the end of the semester, students were allocated a portion of the data and they had to analyse that. And then we said, here's some questions, tell us what you found. And they had to do a commercial presentation. And then at the very last week of the semester, we had a big market research day where the top 3 groups were presenting their data, and that was attended by all of the senior members of the industry, MDs, CEOs, HR staff, and of course our students and a number of academic staff. And it was a great opportunity to celebrate excellence. And I know that you presented at that too, didn't you, Helen? So I'm sure that Helen's got much more to say about that. So with that background in mind, I'm going to hand you back over to Helen, who's going to tell you a bit more about her journey in the course and in marketing research.
Thank you, Catherine. Great. So I really believe that this quote sums up the entire experience. The journey is the destination. So I went into this course as it was a prerequisite to do postgrad, and I really wanted to do postgrad. It was either that or take a stage 2 stats course, which wasn't happening in my books. So I took this course instead, and I had one goal in mind, and that was to get the A grade so that I could do postgrad. The funny thing was, though, is the more that we did this course and the more we worked with the client, the less I wanted the A grade and the more I just wanted to do this really well. And the more I discovered that data is not about numbers, data is about people, because it's representing the people, it's representing who they are and what they believe. So with this project, we had a number of challenges that we had to overcome. The biggest one for me was the statistical analysis. But I learned that hard work can really get you places. And that's the main thing that I took out of this course, and that I took out of the data science experience in general. And we had excellent mentors and guidance from Catherine and the industry mentors and info tools. And we really learned this ability to take something that was all up here and then bring it down and then give back. And the greatest thing about the Housing Foundation is that they are a company that wants to give back and they want to help people. So we could really see that these tangible skills that we were learning at university, we could give back and we could actually use for something other than just, you know, writing an exam or something like that. So the entire working process, as Catherine said, you know, we started with the questionnaire and we learned all of these tools as we went along, and then we came up with this project. And the thing I liked about it was, as I said, taking this data and this big cloud of information and turning it into something that was actually worthwhile. And what I really enjoyed about that is, in all of my life and my university career, I always said, I want to do something that helps people. How that's going to work, I don't know, but that's what I wanted to do. And this course in particular is where I realized that I can use marketing to do that. I always knew that I was pretty okay at marketing, but having this ability to see how you can transform information and actually make it worth something was really, really valuable. So don't take every challenge as a problem, take every problem as a challenge. And I think this is where two challenges really come to mind. And the first, as I said again, and you'll probably hear me say before the end of this presentation, statistics was really not my thing. But I learnt that it's not a problem, it's a challenge. And if you want to be good at something, and if you want to do something well, then you have to work hard at it. And I did, and I got pretty okay at statistics by the end of the course. And I learned from that it's important not to let these things become an obstacle, but to work through them, because you can actually get through them. Looking beyond that, as a woman, or as women in general, we have this perception that we can't do these nitty-gritty data sciencey subjects. Actually, we can, and we're not limited by anything other than our imagination and our ability to do these things. And going forward, it was, well, what do I do with this? And this is where Catherine enlightened us and said, well, anything you want to do. And it's really because of this course and this journey that I'm able to do postgrad, and I'm able to enter the market research industry with real confidence and excitement, knowing that I can make something and I can be good at it. And I'm excited for this opportunity, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that the University of Auckland provides this course, that we have someone like Catherine teaching us who's got both the academic and the commercial experience. And that's something that is very valuable from a student perspective when your lecturer gets up there and says, I know because I've done it before, and can really guide you through that. So I think it's important to know that if anyone's ever considering doing something like this, don't be scared by it, because you can get through it and you can work hard. And I say this from the bottom of my heart, if I can get through statistics and SPSS, anyone can.
And sometimes it's kind of fun too.
Yeah, sometimes it is. And it has led me to pursue a quantitative analysis thesis for my master's. And that's something I never dreamed that I could be capable of, but I am, and it's exciting. So the Housing Foundation as a client, again, was just really fabulous. And we could see, you know, you Google it, look at the news articles and see what they were actually doing. And the results of their hard work were astounding, and they still are to this day. And you can see, you know, this was one of many happy clients of the Housing Foundation, to see that what they were doing was making a real difference, and a real difference that was realistic as well. To put Kiwis in homes was phenomenal. And being at university, quite often we don't have the time to know what's going on out in the world because we're so focused on our study. To have this real life experience and then pull it in to university and talk to the client and talk to industry mentors about what's going on. And then again, using these skills that we learn to help this client. It gives you a taste of what to expect in the real world as well. So I think fabulous client, but any client would have been fabulous to work with. So some of the presentations that we did, they were astonishing to see. I was lucky enough to be one of the top 3 groups to present at the Market Research Day, and I was able to see some of the other student presentations. And what I loved about this is that everybody has a story to tell, and we might all have the same set of data, but it's the creativity and it's the mixture of science and art that comes together to deliver the story. So we have some examples here, and it's interesting to see what people did. And so one group here did some secondary research and went online to see that housing affordability is an issue, something that a lot of people don't actually know or are aware of because they may own a house or for whatever reason. And it was how they set up that story. Some other groups, like this one here, displayed the methodology and the sample profile really nicely. And the thing I like about this, again, it's the pulling from information to tell a story. And I really enjoyed the use of visuals to tell a story as well. And that's something that we didn't really get in other courses to the same extent, is having different ways to tell the same story or having different ways to tell information, and the different variation and how this information came across, but it was also brilliant and it was a representation of the data. And then finally, the results. We found that people didn't know about the Housing Foundation. We found that people wanted to believe it, but it was too good to be true. And from this, we could come up with recommendations. And that's, to me, what market research is about. It's providing solutions to problems, and having that ability to experience it and just taste test it at university was utterly fabulous. So fundamentally, why a career in data science? Well, for me, it's about the journey and the helping people. I think it's a very important thing in life to give back. And for me, it was about finding, firstly, what I'm good at and how I can achieve this goal. And data science is really what this is about for me. I am able to take the skills of things I'm good at and combine it with my passion to help people and really make a contribution. And I think anyone can do this if you've got the passion for it. And I think it's a fabulous, fabulous interest to pursue that can take you, I believe, in many different directions.
And for me, why a career in data science? Well, data science has been very, very kind to me over the years, and I've really enjoyed it. So data science, marketing research, slight variation between the two. Why do it? Why do it? Well, I find it interesting. I find it inspiring, and it feeds my curiosity. Ultimately, I'm interested in what people are up to. I'm interested in what they're doing, and I use data to tell that story. So in over 20 years, I'm still thoroughly enjoying it as I was the first day. So that's why a career in data science for me. And I'm going to leave the last word to Helen.
I think to wrap it all up, nothing comes of nothing. And if you want it, do it.
Thank you.